Welcome to the first episode in a Legendarium series about medieval legends. In this episode, we will talk about the Holy Grail, believed to be the cup that Jesus Christ drank from at the Last Supper, and later used by Joseph of Arimathea to collect Christ's blood at his crucifixion. From ancient legends to modern films, the Holy Grail has been an object of mystery and fascination. What makes the Holy Grail so important to us? Much like King Arthur and Robin Hood, it is the subject of many stories and legends, placed between history and myth. The word grail likely came from the Latin word gradal, which refers to a deep platter used to serve food at medieval banquets. Throughout the years, the grail has been described as a dish, a chalice, a platter, a goblet, and even a stone. It likely has its roots in Celtic traditions about gods who possessed immense cauldrons with the power to restore life and give endless food. According to lore, one such cauldron was so immense that it had to be pulled in a wooden cart by a team of oxen. After the spread of Christianity to the British Isles, such legends faded from public worship, though the tales likely endured. Around 1130 A.D., Geoffrey of Monmouth wrote the epic and wholly fictional The History of the Kings of Britain, which gave Europe the legend of King Arthur. Hundreds of copies of Monmouth's history circulated in the courts of Europe, which came to see Arthur's 5th century reign as a golden age. Before long, other authors began writing in Monmouth's world, similar to what we today call fan fiction. The first written text of the Grail appeared in Conte de Graal, or The Story of the Grail, an old French text written by Chretien de Troyes around the year 1180 AD. Chretien claimed that he translated Conte de Graal from an ancient manuscript provided to him by his patron, Count Philip of Flanders. Many medieval authors, including Monmouth, claimed their original works to be translations of ancient manuscripts to gain credibility. No longer available in its complete form, Troyes' Grail was considered a bowl or a dish rather than a chalice. After questing for it, a rustic but pure-of-heart knight named Sir Percival presented it at the table of the mystical Fisher King. This monarch suffered a wound that prevented him from walking, and he could perform no physical activity except fishing in his moat. As part of the dinner service that Percival attended in Troyes' poem, a procession marched to the king carrying a bleeding lance, 2 candelabras, and the elaborately decorated grail. In the poem, the grail contained a mass wafer which cured the Fisher King's wounds. The healing power of mass wafers was a popular motif at the time, with many saints recorded as living only on communion food. Scribes in the new medieval kingdoms of England and France wished to connect their home countries to events in the life of Christ, which unfolded in the far-off Holy Land. In France, this longing led not only to Troyes' poem, but stories that the Merovingian dynasty descended from a blood relation of Christ who fled persecution. In England, that led to a belief in the Holy Grail, where scribes asserted that one of Christ's followers, Joseph of Arimathea, was involved in the British tin trade. They wrote that Joseph fled to Britannia with the Holy Grail after Christ's death. More tales sprang from this simple story. One legend had it that on the spot where Joseph buried the Grail, the water ran red because it traveled through Christ's blood. Today, scientists agree that the sight of red water is explained by red iron oxide in the soil turning water red. Others believed that the Knights Templar, a medieval order that protected pilgrims bound for the Holy Land, seized the Grail from the Temple Mount and secreted it away somewhere in Europe. Of course, historical evidence for the Grail in Europe is scant to non-existent. Robert de Boron further built upon the Grail's Christian significance in his 1200 poem Joseph de Arimathea. De Boron's story followed the journey of Joseph of Arimathea, beginning with his using the Grail to collect blood from Christ's body while he was nailed to the cross. Because of this, the Romans imprisoned Joseph and placed him in a stone tomb similar to that which held Christ's body. There, Jesus appeared to tell Joseph of the mysteries of the cup. And according to the poem, Joseph survived for several years due to the Grail bringing him fresh food and drink every day. Once Joseph regained his freedom, he gathered friends and family and traveled west, where he began a following of Grail keepers that ultimately included Percival, the hero of Detroit's adaptation. Grail legends reached their peak during the Wars of the Roses, which ended England's medieval era. Thomas Malory, a country gentleman caught up in the wars, wrote Le Morte d'Arthur while imprisoned for a series of crimes. In his work, Malory portrayed a chivalric world far removed from his war-torn country and included a series of tales about knights questing for the Grail. In the end, only the virginal and virtuous Sir Galahad proved pure enough to retrieve the Holy Grail. After the Renaissance, the Grail legend, along with most medieval lore, fell into oblivion. During the 19th century, the Romantic movement, with its passion for all things medieval, revived the Holy Grail in works like Lord Tennyson's Holy Grail within the Idylls of the King and Richard Wagner's music drama Parsifal, produced in 1882. In recent years, the Holy Grail has appeared in many popular books and movies, ranging from parodies like Monty Python and the Holy Grail to epic adventures like Excalibur and Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. With such a body of work behind it, it is unlikely that the Grail legend will ever die. That wraps things up for this episode of The Legendarium. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, press like. If you want to see more, press subscribe. And if you've got anything to say, let me know in the comments section. Thanks again for joining me, and I hope that you have a great rest of the day.